Today, what are we going to talk about today is an important element which is going to continue building up on what we built on last week on safety is how how is our capacity right now to give up control in a controlled way. Let's say it like that, and to be able to let ourselves be carried by others. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about that, and I see Sonia already nodding her head because it's something that we can still grow on. So I at a certain moment didn't have the feeling that people were having my back. I had it in my team, and I was inviting these kind of situations unconsciously because I didn't get it that I still had this big team on this. I'm talking about many years ago. I'm not talking about my current team because they're amazing. But in my team, I noticed that I had competent people because I skilled them myself. They were very good trainers and coaches. But I remember, if I'm honest, and I dare to be vulnerable because I'm not Mrs. Perfect, you know. I have learned lots of things in my life, and I have gone to against the wall many times too, not realizing what I've just said to you there in the beginning, that we are really the bottleneck of our company. So whenever we are not growing, it's because something needs to shift within ourselves. We need to be clear about that and not point fingers to others. And then that time, many years ago, I wasn't there yet. You know, I was indeed looking at my team, and I was looking what I didn't like and how I felt not good enough. I was working my ass off, working 10, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, sometimes, maybe sometimes doing the night through. And I had two little children, one of 1 and one of 3 years old. And I still always had the feeling I was not good enough. I was working hard, and I wanted to build 2 companies at the same time, and having business for them, and I still didn't feel like I was good enough, and some of them neither. So there was one of them who also had that feeling. And you know, it's all about this tool I'm going to give you now as an insight, because our brain works with visuals. So if I bring in an attribute, I don't know if you say attribute in English, but a thing that helps your mind to remember. Okay, so what is this? It's a meter. Okay, a prop. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dana works also a lot with the people in the US, so she is amazing in English. One of the things, she's amazing in lots of things. So we have, I don't know, it's a 2 meter. So I needed to have, let's say 1 meter. So this is a 1 meter. This is 1 meter. Okay. So which means what? We have 100 attention points a day, not more. Okay. So we only have this in our brain. Let's say this is what we have in our brain. So whenever what we use from our attention point goes away, we don't have it anymore. So if I, for example, spend an hour discussing with colleague entrepreneurs about one of my colleagues that is not, for example, posting posts on the social media of what we were saying, there's this going away. I don't have this anymore. I cannot use it anymore for any of my projects I'm doing. If I then at the night, I probably don't, I will, if I remember, I didn't even wait till the night. I called my husband to complain again about the same person. I just had an hour with someone else, and I then took an hour with my husband to discuss about what I didn't like about the team, and so on. So by the end, I still had 20 points left of my 100 to work on my business. So check for yourself, and listen to my story, and check the whole time with yourself. What do you recognize? What you don't recognize, but also just check concerning your own attention points a day. How much are you giving away to others? By thinking about others, by thinking in the mismatch, by thinking what you don't like, also giving away to your own self-saboteur inside, to your own mismatcher or judger inside that is telling you this and that, and that didn't like that, and I don't like that. So I was losing lots of my attention points. And I had three big confrontations to really make a decision. So my husband said me 3 times in the night when he was home. He was getting tired, you know. He First of all, he wasn't at home that much in the night, and then when I was in the night, I was always complaining about what, you know, about that this wasn't the team that I wanted, that this is not the business that I wanted. I'm working my ass off. I'm not getting appreciated, etc., etc. You know. I didn't feel like they were having my back, and I was asking things, they were not doing it, la la, you know. And that's why I'm bringing it in, because my company was going well, you know. I was just looking at what was not there instead of looking at what was. Okay. So at a certain moment, my husband said, I saw him, you know, like you know this, right? Of your partner, they are present, but they're not mentally present. Right? They're physically present, but they're not mentally present. So they're like, yeah. I see lots of you laughing. You recognize this, right? So I said to him, yeah, nice. You're not listening to me, you know? And he said, yeah, but babe, this is already I don't know, you know, maybe the 100th time that you're telling the same story about the same person. Why don't you just stop with this person? You know, why the hell are we talking about this and are using our private time as a couple to talk again about Mrs. X? So I had to have that 3 times as a mirror. Then I started, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm not taking ownership of my business. The second thing is, when I was a certain time, I was being coached by a drama coach. And a certain moment, it was very clear. I brought in the team about I didn't feel people were having my back. And we came to the conclusion, you never know, of course, what's correct or not, because you cannot go back into the wound. But we came into the realization that I didn't attach correctly in the wound. The wound is the baarmoeder. So you have to, as an embryo, go into the wound and connect very well. But that fact you cannot check. But what was clearly coming up was that I didn't feel carried by my parents. My mother is an alcoholic, and my father was a psychic ill person. He died when I was 17 years old. So I didn't feel carried by my parents at all. So big insights. I do not have to project my own teams on my team. They didn't have to have my back. My parents needed to have my back, and they weren't there anymore. So I have to find other people, and mostly myself, to have my own back. And that's what we do, my lovely people, lots of times, that we project our own things that we missed in our life onto other people. In Dutch, we say het gemis. That we then start to project it on other people, and we want them to fulfill the things that we missed in our life. How many of you can already find a certain example that you say, you know, yeah, I've probably projected that on someone else, is something, while it's something that I have to solve myself? How many of you raise your hand when you have already an example popping up, of maybe a lot? Okay, good. The third turning point was, I still wasn't making any decision. The third turning point was, I was together with 7 Dutch entrepreneurs in New York, and I was crying and lots of time I was feeling shit. I remember I came to New York and I was really thinking, why the hell did I get on this airplane? I just want to be on an island by myself alone. I don't want to be here in this busy. I was only really in the mismatch. And I was realizing, by having the discussions with these entrepreneurs, because it's a mastermind, and you know, you really go in, you know, and very deep, and you just keep on going on each other's team till you crack each other. So they cracked me. And the point was, I realized I was doing lots of things because I loved my team so much. Because I was looking before the mismatch, but when I looked at what was there, I loved them like crazy, and I didn't want to detach from them. I wanted to detach from one person, but I didn't want to detach from 4 of them. So the thing was that I was working so hard for them that I lost myself in the process. I lost myself in the process. And at that moment, I made a decision. I said, I'm going to stop with 3 of the 4 people. So I came back from New York. I talked very clearly on I'm okay, you're okay, in why I was going to take a step forward. Wasn't easy, because you have to let go of competent people. It's not that they're incompetent. You have skilled them. So that means I didn't have a return on investment yet of all the hours that I had spent to mentor them. Okay. But it was a very big, important turning point. And at that moment, I made also a second decision that I had to work on my own team of being carried. That was not up to anyone, my husband, my team, my friends, to carry me. Yeah, they can carry me, sorry. But it's not that I have to give all the responsibility to them to feel carried. And that I also had to do things by myself to allow myself to be carried. Because if I didn't do the work, they could not carry me. Because I was not allowing, I was holding people back. And that's a question that I also have for you today. Maybe you realize now that maybe you are holding people back to help you. That maybe some people already offered you to help you. Maybe you already feel like, so maybe you had a discussion with me or one of my team and you felt like they can help me, but you didn't yet sign in, even if your body already gave you that sign. So what did I still want to say? You have to have you have to give people the allowance. That's a very important word, the allowance that they carry you. And you also need to endure the pain or the disappointment when you start doing it and they are not reacting in the way that you maybe want them to react. You understand what I'm saying? So that you reach out, that you give up control in a control way, and that you'll have to go through a journey there that is not always going to be exactly like you want. So, for example, if I think about Annette, you always want everybody to be happy. That means when you start really daring yourself to be carried by others, you'll also sometimes have maybe sadness, and that you'll have to deal with, even if it's something that you want to go away from. You understand? And then I'll tell you, it goes very fast that it goes better and better, but it still took me 2 years to clean up myself and to not project this team anymore on other people. So some elements you need to really just take the commitment to clean it up. And sometimes when I still ask help today, I feel like a little shiver coming over my body, or feel some nervousness in my throat, in my voice. And now, for example, this is still a team concerning someone taking over the operational work of me big time. So I notice I still have to do one step there. So it's an evolution, let's say. So an important insight I want to still share before I start asking you some questions is, whenever your company is growing, you will face other challenges. Whenever you are growing, you will face other challenges, And so, like I'm saying, this team is already quite old, let's say, and still today, there's still a layer I need to clean up. So, but there's maybe, I don't know, if there would be 1,000 layers, there are now 900 already left, gone, that I don't have to carry anymore. There's maybe 99 still left. Okay? So it's like we say in Dutch, je gaat laagje per laagje van de ajuin afpellen en zo op die manier steviger bij je kern komen. And that means also when you are more connected with your core, then when things are happening to you concerning your life team, you will feel less triggered. You will be more neutral. The more you can be neutral, the less people can have hooks on you. And the interesting thing is when you clean it up, less of the situations happen. The moment I, for example, didn't care anymore about what people were thinking of us because we dare to show up and be visible and show our products, that was the moment I didn't get any comments or criticism anymore. So the thing is, when you give attention to it, you still attract it, and people can still have hooks on you. So that always helps me, to see what is still the hook here. Where can they still put their hook in me? There's something I need to clean up. Okay. So having said that, I wanted to ask you the question. Take a moment. I'm just going to put like 1 minute of music, and you just check, if I listen to this story, how does maybe my behavior still holds people back on a distance? How maybe this is still a pattern of me needing that I want to do everything by myself, and I don't reach out. Maybe you can also just ask yourself the question, if you dare to, from who of your parents did you miss it to be seen for who you are? From who of them would you want to have more the feeling that they have your back? Your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your grandma, and just take a moment, take 1 minute just to reflect on these questions and write something on paper, on your paper.
Gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful.